Hello and welcome to the No Strings Attached podcast, the podcast where we talk about shit and there's no strings attached. Joining me as always is my lovely, beautiful, amazing, powerful, great co-host, Love Phenomenon.
Love Phenomenon. Hi.
And then joining us for the first time today, which I'm super excited to have this conversation with this person. I've tried to meet them approximately 9 times and failed each time. Is TennisGdzilla, the goat himself. Tennis, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here, and it's only been once, but I have said I owe you at least 3 or 4 drinks for missing that one opportunity about a week ago.
You know,
I'll make
actually,
up for it
you know
Christmas
what's funny
time.
about it though, Tennis, is that one of the things that made me the most sad about that was, well, obviously I was like sad that I didn't get to meet you, right? But then the other part that made me the most sad was that
The leftovers.
Yeah, because I didn't. So basically, what happened this year is I didn't go to as many like Thanksgivings as I normally do, because normally I have like 4 to go to or something like that, and this year I only had 1. And so I was like, okay, sweet. I only have to go to 1 Thanksgiving. This is great. And then I'm like, but I didn't take any leftovers from there. And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot to take the leftovers. And I was like, at least Tennis is still coming over. And so I'll get leftovers then. And then he's like, oh, yeah, sorry, by the way. So I got really fucking busy doing that. I'm like, oh, it's fine. But in my mind, I'm like,
So, my mom is going to be moving back up towards my area this next summer. And so she's getting ready to put the house on the market. And so she's basically like, I need you to pack every single thing in this house I would not need in an apartment. And I'm like,
right.
Excuse me?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But I feel like the issue with like doing that is like that's such a fucking gigantic downsizing. Like it's like it must be difficult to do whenever you go from a house to an apartment. Because I remember whenever my mom, me and my brother were moving out of my the house that we rented whenever I was a kid, and we moved into an apartment. And it was crazy to me. Firstly, it showed me it was another one of those instances where you get to see like, you know, my mom sacrificing so we could have shit, because me and my brother brought along so much extra shit and she got rid of so much of her shit. And I look back at that and I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. Like you should have fucking like, you know, not put as many taken as much stuff. Although I was like 9, so I couldn't have known. XX Cherry Blossom Days XX. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. How are you doing? Good to meet you. But yeah, that was my experience whenever we did downsizing.
So luckily the thing for her is what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna sell my condo up here and give her the money I make off of it as to help with the down payment, so she can get like a proper like house and be comfortable.
Nice.
And I'm gonna be living out of the basement for a little bit because all the houses up here have basements. But you know, she wants, you know, it's a good market right now to sell in Houston, so she wants to get the house listed, and she'll just kind of stay in an apartment down in the Houston area until she can get everything lined up here.
I see.
So basically what's going to happen is when I'm back down there around Christmas time, we're going to get one of those bigger U-Hauls. We're going to hook my car up. We're just going to max load everything, and I'm going to put it up in a storage unit up here for her.
All right, Tennis, you let me know whenever all of that's over with, and I'll come over there and we can hang out. But just don't make me help move, please. I fucking hate helping people move.
Listen, it's on the housing market front, it's a good time to sell a house no matter where you are.
Yeah, because people want to buy, but nobody's selling right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
No. People want to sell, but nobody's buying. Like the market is so high. Like my house, I bought my house for just under 100K. If I were to put it on the market today, it's worth 210.
Damn, but then you wouldn't be able to find another house. Is kind of the problem, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Because
that's a catch-22, isn't it? Like it's like damn, I could really make double the fucking money right now, but I can't sell my house. I don't know, but too, like if you have a house that like works for you, it's always better just to fucking stay in your house. Like, because like man, moving and everything is just not fucking. It's so annoying, dude. Like,
I'm moving into a single family, and that's the next and final move.
Yeah, then that's it. Yeah, that's what I would do as well. I totally agree with you. So I think we have a few things to talk about that I think are pretty interesting to get through. And you know, it's kind of difficult to choose which thing to start with, but I think that the first thing that I want to talk about, because Love was talking about Holiday earlier, the movie, and
it's such a good movie.
And we have a topic that's been on our list for so long. It's holiday relationships is kind of the topic essentially. But the thing that I think about this topic that I find to be so interesting is the way that holiday relationships have evolved for me. Because like I don't know about you guys, but this is how it went for me. Whenever I first like would be in like holiday relationships, it would be like you know, I would be on my like winter vacation, you know, and I would like be like, all right, well, I'm gonna break up with my current girlfriend because I ain't gonna be able to see her in school, and I'm gonna find a little girl in the neighborhood to start dating, and then we would start dating throughout the holiday, and then we'd break up, and then I'd get back together with my girlfriend at school. And then whenever I got into like high school, it was like, well, I can kind of do whatever I want, like I can move around. So holiday relationships became very like just stressful as fuck. What up, Faye? Because it would be like, all right, we're going to do this with my family, then do this with your family, then do this with my family, then do this with your... And it was just so stressful. Then in college, I had built up such an interdependency to having my partner with me all the time for holidays that I experienced what it was like to be single, and it was so horrible. My first holidays alone was like, I can't describe to you. Like I'm almost a little bit happy that my dad and grandfather almost got into a fist fight on Christmas Eve because I was so fucking uncomfortable. The only thing that made it like not unbearable was the fact that they got in a fist fight and made that the most uncomfortable thing that happened during the entire thing. And so like it kind of made it possible for me to move past. But before that, it was just like me sitting in the corner being like, I'm so uncomfortable to be around my own family right now because I'm not used to being by myself and I haven't told them that they broke up. Like I was like, oh God. So yeah, that's my experience. What's y'all's experience with holiday relationships in general?
So I mean, for me, I've been single for about 4 years now, and this is only going to be, I guess, the second year where I'm not going to be flying to Japan around Christmas time for New Year's to spend it with my grandfather. Obviously, COVID and everything, but because you know, before that, especially when I was living more towards the West Coast, every year, you know, I fly out sometime around Christmas, spend New Year's over there, and then come back about a week later. But I do remember, like, in high school, and especially, like, the first super serious relationship I had in college, just how hard it was to try to almost feel like you were balancing, like, yeah, like, you know, my mom wants to spend time with me, but also, like, I don't want to be away from this person here because, you know, we kind of, like, doing a thing right now.
Yeah, right.
And, like, the amount of tension that would cause. Whereas, like, you know, since I've kind of been, you know, last Christmas is a little different because of the whole COVID situation and everything. But, yeah, it's just my mom and I. So it's not too bad. And, you know, worst case scenario, I just go spend a couple hours at the gym to get out of the house for me. Yeah. Lev,
did you ever have a holiday relationship? And really, like, what time of like your life would you even think about like holiday relationships? Because I feel like there's a situation that happens where like there's really only one period of your life whenever holiday relationships are anything other than just like your regular relationship, and I feel like it's that time somewhere towards the end of high school and like through your like college age years, and then after that it's just like, no, I'm just in a fucking adult relationship at this point. I'm just gonna do whatever I'm gonna do, and she's gonna do whatever she's gonna do, or vice versa, you know.
So I've never been into the holidays, so I never liked dating around the holidays.
You don't like
Christmas?
Would usually
break up with somebody around the holidays.
Oh, really? Why is that?
I have a lot of personal trauma with holidays, so okay. I just don't like them. I really don't. Like, the reason I do holidays now is I have a small child, like, and it's not his fault. Like, I can't push my beliefs on him because he's a baby, basically. So, and granted, I have a lot of very positive memories with the holidays now that I have Bug, but before that, I would either break up with somebody like right before the holidays started or on a holiday because I would be an emotional mess. Like, I would sabotage on purpose because I didn't want any positivity. And I guess that just comes with like healing through trauma in like a weird way, is like you basically self-sabotage continuously until somebody snaps you out of it. And the person that snapped me out was my boyfriend at the end of high school, who passed away just before I got pregnant with Wyatt. He snapped me out of it because he was the first person I ever spent Valentine's Day with.
Right.
And then we had plans for other holidays, but he passed away.
That must have been rough.
Yeah, it was. And it was shitty. And then I got pregnant, and then I had a kid. So I had to force myself into holidays. So like, I personally, holiday relationships, the problem is for me, there's always the pressure of being with somebody. Like, when I walk into my family's house now, they're like, alone again? And I'm like, fuck you. And I'm ready to leave.
That's the benefit of the holiday. That's why, like, I'm not even exaggerating, Love. Whenever I watched that movie, it was possibly the best time for me to watch that movie because I was literally, like, going through that exact experience because, like, This is something that I think is weird. Why this is something that I think adds to like the systemic problem that we have with whenever it comes
problem?
to like it's patriarchal, but it's also just like relationship problems in America and like in families. Is like basically what will happen is if you go to an event whenever you're supposed to be like in a relationship with somebody and they're not with you, they're like, oh my God, where's this person? And the way that it made me feel was very much like, oh, this is my like whenever I'm not with this person, then I'm not like a complete person, and they're viewing that as well. Like, because I was already thinking that I didn't feel like a complete person. So whenever they would ask me that, whenever they'd be like I know their intention was not to do that, obviously, but like to me, they were saying, oh yeah, you're not even complete unless you have this person with you, and I'd be like, oh look, they see it too, and it kind of made me worse. Like it made it so much worse for me to go through that because like I just hadn't told them yet, and so it was one of those situations where like, oh, another thing that happened because of that was, they all bought so many fucking presents for my ex-girlfriend, thinking that we were still together. And I was just like, here we go.
What's even worse is when you have a kid. So like I left Wyatt's father 3 months after he was born. And he went and had a girlfriend. Like there was a lot of drama for the first bit because we were 18 and you know, new parents and everything was crazy. So I had another boyfriend after that, and I was with him thinking that I was his only girlfriend for 3 years, almost. and my son, he met my son when my son was 4 months old. And his mom fell in love with my son, and like I went to holidays at his house even after we split up because my son was so attached to them and I wasn't about to like rip them out of his life. And then all of a sudden they just stopped calling.
Wow.
And they stopped texting. And so like it's worse even when your kid gets attached to someone like that, which is why like people that are parents have to be so careful with who they bring around like their children.
That's why like whenever I was dating that MILF love, I was like, dude, I'm not meeting your fucking son. Like dude, I'm sorry, I'm not meeting. She was already trying to say, which I viewed, and you said this as well, which I also viewed it as a red flag. Whenever like after the first date, she's like, you should meet my son. I'm like, should I? I'm like, I don't think I should meet your son because I don't want a serious relationship with you at all. And I know what it's like to have guys coming in and out of my life whenever my mom is dating them, and I didn't like it. It was fucking weird and confusing, and I don't need to be doing that to somebody else. So like I was always like very against that whenever she started saying that, but it was shocking to me because like I'm used to people having more of the perspective that you have, Love, where it's like, no, you have to like really fucking get in close with me before I'll even let you meet my son, you know?
I think that is where I like fucked up being young is because I let not only like so like my son called him a version of dad. Like he called Bug Monkey because like that's all I did was climb up. Like this man was 6'7", like, and my son was a toddler.
What's up
so,
with
like,
you dating really tall guys? What is this?
There's just a thing. I don't know. I think it's tall guys like short girls like tall guys. It's a thing. Any partner I've ever had has been at least half a foot taller than me, if not more. Like
That's crazy.
have never really dated. And there was one boyfriend at one time that was like 5'7" and I was 5'3", and literally 2 years later he was 6'1". So like,
wow,
it just this is the way it works. But so like he called Bug Monkey, and then when he started talking, he called him Monkey Daddy, and it was just like, I really thought I was going to be with this person forever. Like, I genuinely thought I was going to be with him. So you didn't look at that weird?
You were just like, yeah, it is what it is kind of thing?
Yeah, because he had been there. Like, he was changing diapers. He was hanging out with him. Like, his mom was, like, fully in his life. Like, they basically, like, took Bug and I in, and, like, we were immediately, like, family.
That's crazy, the way they can just cut you off after that. That's insane.
And then, like, yeah, and, like, the thing is they had been cut off from his older brother's ex who had a child as well, and like they were cut off from that child, and I swore to them, I was like, I will never do that to you, because as long as you're a good influence, I don't care if I'm with your son or not.
Right, exactly.
And mind you, like, he fucked me hard. Like, he emotionally and mentally fucked me so bad. So
just by ghosting you, or like
how
did he fuck you? Like, or do you want to get into it or not? If you don't,
I thought we were monogamously together for 3 years. According to him and what he told all of his friends, he dumped me after 11 months and I was just around. Yet he was living in my apartment, using my car, like telling me he loved me. Look at Tyler's face, like, hello? Yeah. And he told all of his friends and everything that we weren't together. I was still at his mom's house, like we were doing holidays, blah, blah, blah. Like everything was kosher to me. And I looked through his phone one day because he had pissed me off. And I started looking through his phone while he was sleeping, and here we are, and he's got 2 different girls with rings on their fingers.
What?
And another girl is messaging me about how she slept with him. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. And for a while, he had me believing that they were all crazy because I was young and dumb. Like, you know what I mean? I was only like in my early 20s. Bro,
this guy was gaslighting the fuck out of you. That's insane.
God.
And it was crazy.
How old was he, did you say?
He was, I think he was like 2 or 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So like he wasn't that much older than me, but he was really manipulative. And this all stems from like his trauma,
right,
which I found out after the fact with his ex-girlfriend before me. Like she cheated on him with his best friend and then they got pregnant and had a kid together. So like it was weird, real weird situation in that way. But he literally had me believing that I was crazy and that these girls were just like trying to fire me up and blah, blah, blah. So he literally, we got into such a bad argument. He punched the one cement wall in our apartment at the time.
I hope he broke his fucking hand.
He shattered all of his knuckles.
Perfect.
So every time it gets cold out, he's reminded of me.
I hope that he can't make a full fist for the rest of his life.
That's karma there.
No, I wish he couldn't.
But he was definitely like, and that's the point where like I let my guard down, and now I am very particular.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I bet the repercussions for that weren't even just the son. I bet now, like, or at least for a period of time after that, I'm sure that you were super fucking guarded and insecure about that kind of shit. Because like, I'm telling you, like, I had one experience where I went through a girlfriend's phone and saw something, which, by the way, it's insane whenever you pops, it's insane whenever you go through somebody's phone, because you have this feeling of like, I'm looking for something and I probably won't find it. So then whenever you do find something, you're like, you're just like, oh no, I fucking actually found the thing that I'm looking for. Oh Jesus. And whenever that happened to me, it happened to me. And then I was just like, what do I even do? Like, it was just one of those moments where I was like, what the fuck? And that also made me realize this. Where do you guys stand? I want to hear Tennis's perspective first, but where do you guys stand on going through your partner's phone? Because this is the reason why I even bring this up. Because right, this is the colloquial like opinion from what I can tell. Everybody's like, that's crazy. Don't go through your partner's phone. But at the same time, you shouldn't really have anything to worry about if you're fucking not doing anything weird, and that's the problem. So like, whenever somebody has a really strong opinion on that, like, you can't go through my phone, I'm like, is that because you have something to hide? Yeah, I'm like, because I'm not gonna lie. Like, if somebody were to tell me, like, if I was dating somebody exclusively and they go on to go through my phone, I would literally throw it to them. Like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, do whatever you want. But like, whenever somebody has a reaction that's really negative, I'm like, okay, like, I understand, like, it's breaching your privacy, but at the same time, like, it's not like I'm going through the numbers with your friends, or like I'm just going through fucking, who the fuck is Jeff and why are you sending him nudes? Like, that's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Why is Pizza Hut calling you at 2 a.m.? But yeah, Tennis, what do you think?
Well, so I'm a little jaded on this because I had a situation similar to Tyler. For me, it was my last relationship. We've been dating for about two and a half years, living together for about a year and a half, and I've been getting like this kind of sensation, kind of this, just the, that gut feel, that vibe where you're like, something's not right here, just being a little more secretive and whatnot. And at the time, she had her tower set up kind of as like, the entertainment center in the bedroom, and so I had the password and everything. So I just, I logged on, I looked at the, the chats, and I saw that she had been sending some very racy photos to a man by the name of Matthew, who I found out is actually cousin Matt, but that's a story for another time.
Ayo.
We'll get into that in a second.
Oh my god.
Not my face doing a whole 180 from like surprise to like, excuse me.
So my whole thing is like, if you're not hiding anything, like, there shouldn't, like, I don't know. I feel like if you've been dating for someone that long and you're getting that like sinking sensation where you feel the need to like start snooping a little bit, that should probably tell you everything you need to know with 2020 hindsight. But also at the same time, I also get why some people are maybe like, hey, like, I don't mind if you use my phone real quick, but like, I'm not exactly comfortable with you just like flipping through it, carte blanche here.
Bro, I've had girls that I've been dating for a month try to go through my phone, and that's whenever I'm like, whoa, hold on a fucking
That's
second.
a red flag.
I'm like, because my answer, and this is literally what I will tell them, and I actually have said this. I was literally about to spend the night at this girl's house, and she starts going through my phone whenever I went to the restroom. I said, what the fuck are you doing? And she goes, oh, I'm just like, I don't know, I was just going through your texts and stuff. I go, you know for a fact that I'm not dating you exclusively. I have like fucking 3 other people that I'm dating. We're not exclusive. Like we're literally casually dating. I have fucking 3 other casually dating people. I'm like, what makes you think that you have any right to go through my phone? And she's like, well, I just figured like we're kind of getting more serious. And I go, I don't know what gave you that perspective, but like just know that we're not serious and I'm leaving right fucking now. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like we're not that serious, and now we're not even together at all because fuck that. Like I don't need anything like that in my life. But if this would have been a serious girlfriend situation, like where it's like you know I've been dating Shouty for a year and a half or 2 years. I'm like, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? I don't fucking care if you go through my phone. Like, it doesn't bother me at all.
Bingo. Like, okay, so Tyler and I have the same view. Like, I have nothing to hide, and if you read something and you don't like it, that's not my problem. Like, if you're going through my text messages with like my mom or my best friend and you're seeing shit about me talking shit about you and how you're annoying me that day, that's your fault, not mine. Like, if you're uncomfortable with that, sure, but we've probably already talked about it. I am a proprietor of, if you have something to hide, you're going to be defensive about your phone. But if you don't, you're going to be like, okay, sure, take my phone. Like, I don't know what you're looking for, but here you go. And that's what I do. Like, if somebody asks me for my phone, I'm like, okay, here. Especially if it's serious. Like, I have nothing to hide. I don't give a fuck. Like,
and then I think it's 2 very different things for like someone who's always asking to look through your phone because obviously they have trust issues.
Not always though.
Someone like occasionally just being like, oh hey, like who are you texting? Them like, oh yeah, sure, it's just so and so, or be like, hey, can I borrow your phone real quick? And maybe they happen to see something like that's very different than someone like consistently like going like, who are you texting? What's going on in your phone? Let me see your phone.
If your partner is that up your ass about your phone, they are doing something wrong, because usually the person that is over accusing extending is doing something they're not supposed to be, which is what he would do. Is like he would take my phone and like my boss would text me, because I was working at a pizza shop at the time, and then before that I was working at the mall, so like my boss would text me, or like I would have mall people text me, and like, you know what I mean? I was young. I was only like 18, 19, so like, I not supposed to have friends? And for a while I didn't associate with anybody. Mind you, Tyler, do you remember the story about how one of my exes fucked the babysitter?
Oh yes, which is fucking crazy.
Him.
Oh
That's
my
him.
God, bro, this guy, bro, this guy's the worst. I wish he would have broken all of his knuckles and his toe knuckles. I wish he wouldn't be able to walk anymore.
Toe knuckles.
Okay, that was a little far. I said I wish he wouldn't be able to walk anymore. I don't wish that upon anybody. Okay, that was a little extreme. But no, okay. So
Tyler wishes he had to walk with a limp. There you go.
Yeah,
That's in the middle ground there.
So one thing I want to point out about what Tennis said and what Love said, you both just made 2 points that I'm like, oh my fucking God, you guys are so right. So Tennis said essentially, Tennis said, like, if you feel like you need to go through somebody's phone, that's already a red flag. 1, because it means that you don't trust them, and then 2, it also means that you feel like there could be something going on, you know what I mean? And so those are 2 issues, right? And then one thing that Love also said, which I was like, oh my fucking God, I've done this before. So basically, let me give some context before I say this. So
before
basically,
he blows himself up.
Yeah, because I'm really about to expose myself right now as being a piece of shit whenever I was 16. So basically, whenever I'm 16, I'm pursuing the girl that I would go on to date for 7.5 years. But me, I also got got some side pieces as well while I'm looking around. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so there's this other girl that I was kind of like off and on with all the time. And basically, like, me and the girl that I ended up dating for 7.5 years ended up like actually starting to date. But like, I kind of kept texting the other girl, but not in like I stopped any kind of like 1, sexual talk, and then 2, like any kind of like relationship talk. But it was very clear in the context of me and this girl's relationship at the time that like that was not acceptable in the context of the relationship, and it was because we were fucking 16 and insecure, and none of us, you know what I mean? Like, it was just all of that. And so it was very clear that we were not supposed to be texting. And I remember I used to do the most fucking cringe thing, exactly what Love said, where I would be like, what's on your phone? Hey, what's going on in your phone? And it was really because I was just insecure about the fact that I knew I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing. And I would be like always all over her ass about like, what's going on in your phone. But then, not the same girl that I dated for 7 years, but the girl that I ended up seeing the text message from, I was not going through her phone. I literally pick up her phone to text her mom off off of her phone to tell her something because she was at work, and she was like, oh hey, can you text my mom and tell her, because I was there at her work for like 5 minutes just stopping by to bring her food or something, and she goes, oh, can you text my mom off my phone and tell her that I'm gonna be late or whatever. I can't remember what the context was at this point because it's been a long time. I go, yeah. So I grab her phone, and the second that I go to like text her mom, I see a text message bing pop in from the top, and it reads, oh my god, you made my dick so hard last night when we were on the phone. And I'm like, ooh. I literally look over at her like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, oh fuck, like you could see it in her face. And I literally drop her phone on the desk, kind of hoping that it breaks, but I wasn't trying to break it. I just kind of like threw it down on the desk, and I just start storming out of the fucking building. And there's this poor fucking guy who's like a middle-aged guy walking in the store. And he like gets in my way by accident. Like he kind of came out around the corner while I was walking out, and I bumped the shit out of him, but I was so fucking mad. And he goes, hey, watch it. I go, fuck you. And then I kept walking, and I just left the store. And I remember at this point I was driving a Honda Del Sol. It was like one of my cars that I had. I had two cars at this point. God, and so I'm speeding in my Honda Del Sol. Like speeding in my Honda Del Sol away while she's trying to call me on my fucking phone and tell me like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, fuck you. I fucking hang up on her, and I'm like so mad, dude. I was so upset. I was like the most angry that I've been probably like in any of my teenage years. Like I was so fucking mad. But yeah, it was a fucking horrible moment in my life though, because it also made me have constant issues like a way lesser degree. Exactly, Bob's. It also means it gave me like a way lesser extent, but the issues that like I was talking about with love that would have she would have had from like not being able to trust people. I did not trust anybody. Hey, what up, Fern? Big Fern? But I did not trust fucking anybody, and I wanted to go through their phones all of the time. Like I constantly wanted to go through like future girlfriends' phones 24/7, and it was a real fucking problem for me because it made me just not trust anybody to any extent.
Yeah, so like with my last one, 2020 hindsight, it was like super toxic, and I should have blown that up like probably about 6 months before I did. But you know, it was one of those things. And now, granted, I was a little older than 16 here. I think I was like 24, 25ish. And so I should have known better. But you know, I mean, you know, when you're head over heels, you know, you don't necessarily think these things through. And like, yeah, so she went on this study abroad thing about 4 months before we broke up for about 6 weeks in Italy for Italian language. And like, you know, I was going to go meet her over there. We're going to go, you know, through southern Italy, Germany, you know, England, and come back. And, you know, I knew in my gut that she was, you know, having some fun outside
what were the signs? What were the signs that you were picking up on that you were like, something's going on?
Just like, you know, all of a sudden, you know, we're going from like, you know, kind of getting together for maybe a half hour every night on Skype and chatting to all of a sudden maybe it's every other night, you know, not really responding to texts, just basic stuff like, hey, how's your day going? You know, oh, did you do anything fun today? You know, just kind of basic, you know, hey, you know, I want to hear about your day. You know, that sort of stuff. So then, you know, yeah, and this is how you know it was toxic. You know, I landed in Rome and I had about 8 hours to myself, and you know, I went out and I had some fun at a bar. And I chalked it up immaturely to, you know, okay, we're even now. So, you know, I go through this whole, and also, you know, at that point too, even if I know she's like, well, I've already paid for the plane ticket, I've already paid for the rental car, I've got all the B&Bs. Like, it's kind of hard to blow something up when you've, you know, already spent all that money and you've gotten the time off of work and that sort of stuff.
How did the now we're even go? Because I would imagine not good.
So I did not say a word. She probably still has no idea about it. I just acted like nothing happened. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the food. You know, I almost died a few times driving in Italy because they drive like fucking maniacs over there.
I also drive on the wrong side of the road.
That's not a problem for me because I drove in Japan all the time. It was just like, I mean, like we're talking like these narrow mountain roads that are barely 2 lanes. And you got like their version of a semi truck barreling around this thing. Blind corner. I'm a little tiny like Citroen. I'm like, I'm gonna die,
bro.
But I mean, yeah. So anyway, yeah. Long story short, you know, get back to the U.S. and things are kind of touch and go. But I'm kind of like, all right, you know, we both did stupid stuff. I'm just not gonna talk about it, right? Like, we're just gonna move forward, you know, try to kind of repair this. And so then when I did find that texting thread with who I found out was cousin Matt, she was at work and I just shot her a text message and I said, hey, don't bother coming home. Your stuff will be on the curb. I never want to speak to you again.
And just to be clear, it was your cousin.
Her cousin.
Oh, way worse! Way worse! Ah! I thought it was your cousin!
No, her cousin.
Wait, first cousin?
Yep, first cousin.
Well, what in tarnation is going on in here?
Bro, I have
Goddamn
a story
Alabama.
about that.
So then I'll
Sweet
tell her
home Alabama.
not even to bother coming back. Her shit's gonna be like on the curb, whatever. And like her mom really liked me. Like her mom and I, like even if she's at work, we go to brunch every week. So then I text her mom.
Tell me you fucked her mom. Tell me you fucked her mom. Tell me you fucked her mom.
No.
Damn it.
So
how funny would that have been?
Me text the mom and I say, hey, you want to grab some lunch real quick? It's about 10 in the morning. She said, yeah, sure. So we go grab lunch. And I sit down with her. I said, okay, so just so you know, Mrs. P, your daughter and I have broken up. Her stuff is on the curb, or you can come pick it up if you'd like. I found out she's cheating on me, and that's the end of it.
Bro.
And so then I'm talking with her mom, and I didn't use a name, right? Mm-hmm. And her mom goes, oh, well, that's too bad. Next week, got some family coming in town. I was like, oh, that's a shame. I would have loved to meet him. She goes, yeah, my sister and cousin Matt. And I sat there literally for like a solid 30 seconds, stone silent, as my brain's like turning the gears, going, surely that's a different Matt, right? Like that's got to be a different Matt, right?
Bro.
Nope. Same Matt. And it was just like, I have never left a lunch so quickly in my life.
Oh my god, dude.
I want to understand her mom found out that it was in fact cousin Matt that she was cheating on me with and basically disowned her.
Bro, if I would have found out about that, this would have been my actual play. Tennis is what I would have unironically done. No matter what the mom looked like or anything like that. No matter the mom's marital status. I would be so out for blood that I would be like, hey, can you meet me for brunch, but this time at this nice hotel? and be like, what are you trying to get into? I'm really gonna try to make this MILF swoon for me, and I'm really gonna be out there fucking her mom. And then right after that, I'm gonna say, hey, by the way, what's your sister's address, ma'am? Because I'm about to go fuck cousin Matt's mom too. I'm really about to take care of business. You know what I might do to fucking Matt? I might fuck his mom, have a child with her, and then also marry her so that I can be his stepdad after that, just to fucking do it. Like, just to be like, fuck you piece of shit. This is what you get.
So the only thing that kept me civil there is they had a close family friend that I had met, and I call her my Indonesian mom. And so I didn't want to burn that bridge because, she was kind of like my free place to stay in LA. She was really nice. She was always texting me going, hey, just wanted to check in, make sure you're doing all right. And so I texted her too, and I explained it. And I kid you not, to this day, I still text my Indonesian mom at least twice a month. And she still has not spoken to my ex. And
God,
she
dude.
helped raise my ex like her own daughter.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro. There's no reality in which I don't go complete like scorched earth on this woman. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm really about to do the worst I can do.
I might have found cousin Matt's WRX STI at where he works because I knew the general area, and there may have been some illegal things done to said
in Minecraft.
WRX STI. I can either confirm or deny if this was like in video game or in real life. But let's just say the at least that's gonna be about $1,200 worth of repair damage.
I would have done whatever I could do to infiltrate their family and just fucking ruin their family dynamic as bad as possible and make it to where like. Make it to where now, like, the mom can't look at the son and the son can't look at the mom the same for the rest of their lives. That's what I want. That's the only way that I could move on with my life.
From what I understand, her mom disowned her. Her dad didn't speak to her for like 3 years. Like, I think the way I handled it, I pretty much blew it up as best I could, short of actually like fucking a mom.
I would have fucked her dad too. I'm like, yep, everybody's getting fucked in this situation. I'm sorry.
Her dad is like 5'3", like hardcore attorney from like the Los Angeles area. I did not want to touch that man with a 5-foot
I would have literally walked up to her dad and been like, wow, like, you're looking pretty good today in that suit. And he would have been like, really? And I'd be like, yeah, like, fuck, like. What's under that suit?
I can't.
Facts, Langer. I feel that.
This conversation.
So so that was the last one, and that's so that one was obviously like super toxic and everything.
Insane.
So
that's insane, bro.
And that's part of the reason why. Like I remember I was listening to Love and LARP on their cast the other day to talk about it, where it's like that's part of the reason why I haven't really dated at all in the past about 4 years.
Oh, that would scare. That would turn me off dating for sure.
Yeah, because it's like, you go from basically like literally being like, oh, like I think this is like the one I'm gonna live the rest of my life with, like kind of starting to peruse jewelry store sort of deal, to your shit's on the curb. I just blew up your family dynamic, and I may or may not have put myself in legal jeopardy.
Bro, that is totally worth it. I gotta say. All right, take it easy, subclass. What an unfortunate time for you to say that, but okay, subclass, take it easy, bro. But no, dude, I'm telling you, like, I've had only one situation where like I felt like going scorched earth on their family, but I loved, I think this is one of those times, Tennis. What I'm trying to get at is that this is one of those times where it's because I'm outside of the relationship that I feel like this. But if I were inside the relationship, I would do exactly what I did before, which was instead of going scorched earth, I'm like, but I love her entire family. Like I was like, damn, this sucks because I love her entire family so much. This is horrible.
Like I loved her mom was so nice to me. Like, I mean, now this bitch of an ex also stole the other dog I had. His name was Clive. Great dog. But like, this is before I'd scooped Stella up, and like, like she would be like all the time, she'd be like, oh, I'd be like, hey, like, do you mind watching Clive? I gotta work like extra long at the shop today. And she'd be like, yeah, just bring him on up. Best case scenario, he can spend the night.
Bro,
so like, she was always so nice and like very helpful and everything. I took her to the airport a couple times. So it was a shame because her mom was always nice to me. Her dad was a dick to everybody. And then obviously kind of like her second mom and my Indonesian mom was, obviously super kind to me. So it's like, it was one of those things where it's like, it was a shame. And like, looking back, like I said, I probably should have blown up that relationship 6 months prior.
Yeah, we've all been there. Love, you said you had a story that's similar to this. I have another story after whenever you're done.
So,
Love, I don't know if I can handle another story that's like that, actually.
You should be able to, because like I did the right thing. I did the right thing in this situation.
You fucked the mom. Good job.
No.
Oh, fuck.
No.
Never mind. Well, it doesn't sound like you did the right thing at all.
I found out. So this kid that I had a crush on in like 8th grade, turned out to be my cousin. The only thing we had ever done was kissed, and like we were talking about dating and being exclusive. And our mutual great aunt died, and we found out we were cousins, immediately never talked to each other ever again.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? You fucking show up to a funeral and you're like, "What, Randy?" And he's like, "Love?" And then you're like, "Oh fuck, we're cousins."
No. God, it was so bad. It was so bad. And I see him around the holidays now too. But like for the rest of our school careers, we literally did not talk.
It's like, don't look at me. Don't even look in my direction ever again, please. I can't move on my life.
Because it was just weird. Like it became indistinctively like just weird. So I cannot imagine sleeping with your cousin. Like,
bro, yeah, dude. That's why, like, dude. Oh my god, if I were from fucking Iceland, there's no way I'd be dating anybody. They have to have an app on their phone so that they don't actually fuck their cousins.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yep.
So what I managed to piece together out of all this afterwards, just from like going back through my memory, things I'd heard, things I listened to, is so cousin Matt was also like 12 years older than her. And this evidently started when she was like 15.
Okay,
16.
wait, hold on. Before you go any further, just stop there because I don't want to feel bad about everything that I've already said. I've already determined she's a horrible person, so don't try to make me feel bad for her now. I bring up facts.
Here's the thing, right? So this started when she was like 15, 16, right? But then like when she started going to college, it stopped and everything like that. And so it's like, it's not like it was like a long-term kind of like full-on predatory thing. Like she had like moved on, all that sort of stuff, right? And it was literally just, evidently he, was still like texting her back and forth and stuff. So like it was an easy outlet for her to just kind of like try to
so fucking creepy,
just blow the shit up.
Okay, so
and it's just
now I feel slightly worse because she was kind of abused, but let's just move on from
definitely
that.
Predatory abuse,
and just remember her as an asshole instead. But really quickly, I want to tell the story.
So she still is an asshole because she could have just told me that
right, true,
this is
true.
There were ways to handle it other than like, oh hey, let me send like some like more than nude photos to my cousin because it's an easy outlet to cheat with.
Insane. But let me now when I tell this story, keep this in mind for context. I genuinely cannot remember if my friend said this happened to him or if this happened on somebody that he was listening to an interview of something, but this is the funniest shit that I've ever heard, regardless of like a subtle way to really fuck your ex's life over if they like do something to you. So basically, I'm gonna tell it in the context that this is my friend and his ex because it's funnier that way. So basically, what happened is his ex cheated on him, and it was like a really brutal way. It wasn't just like oh yeah, you just get caught on the text. It was like one of those situations where it's like he finds a video of her getting fucked on her phone or something like that, and it was just like fuck, like it was just one of those ones, and it was like one of his friends too. It was like this horrible situation. So what ends up happening is he ends up being like, fuck this, I'm out, like I'm not doing this, like I'm out of here. And so he decides that he's completely done with her, right? Just totally breaks it off, and he's like kind of a pacifist, so he's not about to go fight this guy, even though this guy like knows him and everything like that. And I'm like, bro, you got to fight this guy, like there's no other like way to do it. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So he basically decides, how can I fuck with her in their relationship, because these people ended up being in a relationship after this, by the way. They ended up being in a relationship for a long time after this. So he's like, how can I fuck with her without like doing something horrible to them physically? That's when he remembered that she loves going on trips. They'd been on a lot of trips together, and that she decided, or he decided that he was going to go onto her Expedia account. And the day before they were supposed to go on a vacation, he basically would just check back up on it like from time to time, and then he finds out that they're about to go on a vacation to like fucking California or something like that. So the day before their flight is supposed to leave, he cancels the flight and like deletes all of the possible like insurances and everything that they had. And so he just completely fucking ruined this trip that they both took off vacation time for, 2 weeks off, long vacation plan for a long time, goes in there and deletes all of it and just totally fucking ruins their like immediate future.
I fucking love it.
That is the funniest thing I ever heard. I was like, oh my God, you're a fucking savage. Like, holy shit. That's insane. Like, what a like firstly, big fucking brain play to think of that, because I would have never even thought of that. And then secondly, absolutely fucking hysterical that what a spite play. Exactly, Bob's. And literally just canceled their fucking trip, just ruined it, bro. And then after that, yeah, then you go bang her mom. Exactly. That's the pinnacle.
bro, like the mature part of my brain is like, that's just evil. Like, you got to be more mature about it. But the petty ass part of me is just like, yes, I fucking love that. Let's go.
Yeah, because at minimum, they're about to be paying like thousands of dollars to get a plane ticket the same day to go from Texas to California. At maximum, they can't go on this trip anymore. You know what I mean? It's just like, yes, fuck you piece of shit. This is what you get for cheating on me. All right, the other story that I have is semi-related to this. So I was hanging out with my ex whenever she came back in town for Thanksgiving, and I realized that I had a story that, or like it was because of whenever I was telling the story of me like ending up like having a friends with benefits situation with my ex-friend's ex-girlfriend, and it made me remember, oh my God, I straight up lied to my ex about this entire situation, because basically my ex in high school, once we started dating, me and my ex, she started noticing that every time we passed this girl, there'd be some sort of weird energy. Like there'd just be like what? Why'd she just look at you like that? And so she would be like, oh, Langer, that's actually true. But she'd be like, why is she looking at you like that? Like she'd always ask shit like that. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'd fucking like look down and be like, oh my, because like I said, we were both so insecure and fucking horrible in this relationship that like if we would have said like I had or like I fucked with that person, like she gave me head or whatever, it would have been like, I can't get over this, like we're gonna have to break up, you know what I mean? So I was just so afraid of her getting mad at me at this point in our relationship that I was like, there's no fucking way I can tell her. And then it got to a point where I had just not told her about that and blatantly lied to her about it so many times that like as like an adult I still wouldn't tell her, you know what I mean? Like there'd be like times where like I could tell her and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything though, because I don't want it to be like, you fucking lied to me for the last 5 years, So I was like, fuck, I really dug myself in a hole, which is why you shouldn't lie, by the way, because I ended up in this fucking horrible stressful hole for the longest time. So then me and her are sitting at her house whenever I'm going to hang out with her and her family, and me, her mom, and her are talking, and she goes, and then she brings up a picture of this girl and goes, oh my God, did you see Tipsy Inc, thank you for the follow. She goes, oh my God, did you see that this girl did X, Y, or Z thing, like something like that? And I go, oh my God. And she goes, what? And I go, I just realized I've been lying to you for the last 7.5 or 8 years now, and I can finally tell you the truth. And she goes, what? And she goes, y'all fucked, didn't you? I knew it. I always knew. Like, I always kind of had it in the back of my mind that something was going on like that. And I just told her about it, and she was just dying laughing, because now obviously we're fucking adults and everything like that. We're like, she's in another relationship, you know. It's like not like it'd be weird, but it was just such a fucking funny moment whenever I got to finally tell her that like we fucked around. And it was just like one of those deals where like we were both just losing our shit laughing, because we like, I had built that up as such a problem in my head that I never was going to fucking say anything about it. Like, I was like, yep, this is just at the point of no return, and I could just never tell her about this, and it was eating me up, because I fucking hate lying, and I'm really bad at lying to people that I actually care about. And so she always knew. She literally goes, oh, I always fucking knew that something happened between y'all. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's true, we did. It's just such a fucking hilarious moment. I don't know. There's really nowhere to go with that, but I just found it so funny that I finally got to tell her that I actually did have a situation with that girl. It was fucking amazing.
Are you like this?
I know, it was so funny though. It was just one of those moments that was so satisfying, because after like lying about something for that long and then getting to actually tell the truth, it was just the best ever. It was perfect. Yeah. So speaking of like just relationships in general, have you guys ever like done something like inherently wrong in a relationship, but just like kind of played it off like nothing happened? And like the way that I'm like thinking about this, hold on, sorry, I forgot to put Tennis's fucking picture up until just now, and I was just looking at the thing. I'm like, wait, where's Tennis? Oh fuck, I never put the picture up. So hold on, let me get this fixed. Actually, Love, can you start talking for a second, because I really need to do this.
Sir. You're so lucky that I'm a decent co-host. Goddamn.
I only say that because I normally will just talk stream of consciousness, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep talking stream of consciousness, so I'd rather you just actually say something.
Yeah. By inherently wrong, do you mean like something that no one should ever do in a relationship, like lying, cheating, stealing?
Yeah, like have you ever justified something that you've done in a relationship that's inherently wrong like that? Yeah, I agree. That's yes. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Give me an example of a time that you've done that.
Okay, I mean, so for me, like, yeah, obviously, I mentioned my fun time in Rome when I had that 8 hours.
Right.
Yeah, so that's probably the worst.
Is that the only time that you've ever cheated on somebody, by the way?
Yes. So I'm yeah, I've learned to accept it, despite the front I put up. Once I get into once I get into that mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna be dating this person like monogamously, right? Like I'm really vibing with this person. I get really kind of like into that like romantic vein of things. So like it takes a lot to knock me out of it. So that's the only time I've ever cheated. That's by far the worst thing I've ever done. But I mean, there's been times in past relationships where like, you know, I've lied about, oh yeah, I'm going to bed, when in reality, like I'm going out to, you know,
that's a weird common one,
or something like that. You know, something like that, right? Where it's like, you know, this was especially like my freshman, sophomore year of college. I was dating this girl, and she was not big on partying. So like anytime, like, you know, some of the guys on the tennis team wanted to go out or anything, like I had to be like, oh yeah, like going to bed, talk to you in the morning, and just like I got really good at avoiding any sort of cameras on those excursions, because it's like I want to go out, I want to have fun with the boys, but also like I don't want this to devolve into like a huge fight over it. So like we're just gonna act like nothing happened.
Interesting. I think I've done that as well, where I've like lied about somewhere that I was going, and the one time that I did it in the weirdest context was a time that I lied about going to a mosque to do a research paper. Because I was doing a research paper on Islam whenever I was in college, and I actually was going to, and keep in mind, this is not even like bad, I was literally going to fucking go eat at an Italian restaurant with some of my friends from my math class, but there was going to be girls there, and I could not possibly tell her that there was going to be women there that I had a platonic relationship with, because I was so fucking terrified of this woman at this point that I was like, I'm just gonna tell her I'm going to do research at a mosque. And so I go, oh yeah, I'm going to do research at the mosque, which I did eventually do, but I was not doing this time. And so like I literally was like, I was like, yeah, I'll just tell her that, and then I'll get away with it. But Love, what's your situation? Do you have anything like that? By the way, have you ever cheated, Love? I don't take you as a cheater, but yeah, because I've never actually like done the cheating as well.
Well,
I've never done the cheating where
technically I have.
Oh wait, whoa, what is it?
So I justified. We weren't together at the time, but I justified. I justified fucking my ex-boyfriend's sister.
Whoa, that's
Getting back together with him like
love,
a week later.
love the Giga Chad coming through clutch. Love to see it.
Okay,
What a legend.
Okay, so he fucked my best friend first, which was why we broke up. Okay. He fucked my best friend
He deserved it.
Okay. And then his sister and I went to a party. We got real drunk. My only regret about the entire situation is that I fucked her and there was people in the room. That's the only regret I have.
Lily's asking the tough questions. What's wrong with that? Me.
Like, we were technically broken up. Like, I classify it as cheating because, like, we were still talking and, like, we were trying to, like, work it out or whatever. And also, it's his fucking
sister. But, don't leave that part out. Like, that part's not important. It's one thing if this is a complete stranger. It's one thing, but when it's her sister, it's like, and it was also her sister. Love. Don't leave that important part out.
What's crazy though is like she became stage 5 clinger, and it was
who spilled the beans to the ex? Who spilled the beans? Was it her or you?
His mom.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
His mom caught everything via text message, because at that time, remind you, like, phones were a new thing, so parents were checking records of like phone calls and phone text messages and da. Like, that was like a real thing back then. So, like, you know,
oh my god,
it just
bro.
happened. And she loves me still to this day.
At least y'all have a good relationship
his
now.
Mom does anyways.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I thought you meant the
his mom
the
loves
sister.
Me. She hates me. No, his sister hates me. He also hates me.
I love this moment where some guy said, "Is it cheating if it's family?"
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's like, yeah, it is. And then Larp said, what you should have done was videotaped it without showing her face until the very end, and then send it to him so that he's all randy, and then at the very end realize it's his sister.
No, like when he found out I was there, like at the house with him.
Oh my god, that's so much worse.
Like his mom just like whips open the door and is like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, what?
Were you just like, fuck this shit, I'm out?
Like,
yeah.
No, I was so confused because it was a couple months later, so like I didn't think anything of it. Like
once Love figures out what's going on, she becomes that meme where she goes and then just disappears.
I was so out. I was like, well, she was all like, I got called a lot of names that day. That was one of the people that officially never wanted me around their daughter ever again because I miraculously turned them into a lesbian.
Bro, okay, so VJuice Box, it was funny whenever VJuice Box put that meme or those emotes in there, because literally it was the moment where I was also so stressed that I started putting my hands on my head. I was like, oh my god. I'm just imagining the situation where you're sitting there and then all the fucking sudden the mom comes downstairs and is like, I know what you did.
She was
my goodness.
So angry. Dude. And she told him, and she literally looked at him and she's like, did you know that she fucked your sister? And I was like, oh no. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what do you say at fucking like 16? Like, what do you say? You just like
I lie straight through my fucking teeth. I'm like, what are you talking about, you crazy bitch? I'm leaving. You're fucking insane. And then I'm fucking out of there, bro. There's no way.
Oh, I definitely left.
I had a situation. So whenever I was in high school, one of my first girlfriends, we were like starting to get kind of like sexually exploring. And we were upstairs in like her little game room, and it's the same girl. What up, Lady? It's the same girl that the mom walked in and was just like, where's the girl? But she was literally underneath the blanket sucking my dick right whenever she came in, and I was like, it was like one of those situations. And so basically, oh damn, she's a 7.5. I mean, what could you? Is there any way you could have swung it, or was there? I
probably could swing it. I probably could swing it like now.
Was she one of those homophobes that like she's really mad, but it's because she's actually gay herself, and you could have just swung it there?
Yeah, it's because she's bisexual and her husband sucks.
Okay. But anyways, with that same girl, I was so afraid of her dad that I would oftentimes, while I was like we were doing like sexual shit, I would oftentimes like imagine having to jump over the balcony from the second story to the bottom to get away, because I was like so terrified. Like after that experience, I'm like damn, like I'm too horny not to do this, but if I do get caught, I'm probably just gonna take the risk of breaking my ankles and jump. It's not worth it. He would really
had to do it, Tyler. Just always remember, let the knees buckle and roll.
Yeah, bro, because he would really have fucked me up, because like I had multiple experiences with that guy where I was like, damn, I'm happy I'm not on the receiving end of this fucking anger right now. Like, I'm so terrified of this man. What up, Matt? How you doing, bro? Tie your ankles, please don't. I think I would have been okay. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, no. As someone who's done it on 2 occasions, the key is like when you land, you just let your legs buckle and roll through it, and then you just got to start gumping it. Don't look back. Just keep going.
I was so afraid of this guy that I would have unironically crawled on my hands and knees to escape from him. Like I would have done whatever it took to get away from this guy. Like, I was so afraid of him. It was insane. I also had a situation where my football coach caught me and that same girl, because she was the football manager, like doing shit in the equipment room whenever I was supposed to be in football practice. And he literally, like, this coach just pulled such a fucking bro move. He walks in, goes, "Oh my god," and then just walks out and never mentioned it again and never told anybody. And just let us get off the hook. I was like, oh, as soon as he came in, I'm like, we're fucked. Like, I'm like, this is where we get fucked. And so, like, I literally, like, walk back onto the field, and he looks at me and he just shakes his head. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm so fucked. I'm like, oh no. And then literally just never brought it up and just completely act like it didn't happen. I was like, I was sick. This worked out really well for me. Yeah, I don't know. I've had situations in the past, love, where I've had opportunity, not necessarily opportunities, but I've had, like, situations arise where I'm like, would I fuck one of my ex's sisters, like any of my ex's sisters? And I always, like, my problem is whenever I start dating somebody, I get so close to their family so fast that, like, their siblings just become like my siblings so quickly that I'm like, yeah, I have no sexual attraction to you, even though you literally look exactly identical to my ex, who I thought was, like, very attractive. I'm like, yeah, I'm not attracted to you at all.
Listen, there was a lot of things at play,
right?
Vengeance being one of them. But, like, there was a lot of things at play. Like, there was alcohol, there was drugs. Like, I was finally fully comfortable in my sexuality. Like, I was such a fucking, sometimes people will still say it now, like, I'm still a Mac. Like, I do it all. Like, women in my area are like, it's so bad.
When Love sees the fucking ads on the side of her porn site that says single women in her area, she's like, there's no more single women I haven't fucked yet.
Okay, listen,
I've already gone down the whole list.
My number ratio, which, like, you know, I hate body count and all, but, like, my body ratio is very different. Like, my body ratio for women is, like, really high, whereas, like, my body ratio for men is very low. It's just the way that it is for me. And, like, that's my thing is, like, at that time, it was really out of vengeance. It was really out of spite. And, like, it sucks because I lost her as a friend, too. And I lost, like, him as, like, a boyfriend at the time or whatever. And, like, you know, it is what it is. High school relationships, they don't really fucking matter half the time. So what the fuck ever. All water under the bridge now. And, like, I still see his mom every once in a while. And, like, she makes sure to say hello to me. Like, she talks to me. Like, she'll have, like, a conversation with me. She'll ask me how, like, my grandparents are and stuff. So, like, you know, it's cool. And, like, now she's got a wife. So, like.
So firstly, LARP, why are you lying? You got kids.
I don't, though. You don't know if I've been lying.
So the closest I've ever come to that was my freshman year in high school. I took this girl that was a sophomore on the swim team to homecoming. Her dad was already not happy. And then my sophomore year, I took her younger sister, who was a freshman, to homecoming, and her dad definitely was not happy that night.
Oh,
that's
my
the closest
God.
I've ever come to that, and I don't think I will ever do it again. Just out of the sheer fact that, like, there's nothing like an angry dad.
Bro, yeah, because, like, I had so, you know what's funny is, like, I had this thing where I was literally afraid of zero of my like girlfriends' fathers. One, because some of the girlfriends that I dated just didn't have dads in their life, which made it to where I didn't have to be afraid of anybody. And then 2, because, like, my dad is so fucking big and intimidating and like hit me. And so, like, I would look at them and be like, what are you gonna do, you fucking accountant? Like, what, you know, like, yeah, good luck hurting me, you pussy.
Fucking dweeb.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? But this one girl, dude, her dad was like, he looked like my dad, just shorter, and I was fucking terrified of him. I was like, please, if anything were to happen, like, I would be terrified of this experience, and it would just be the worst. I think it's funny, like, that whole stereotype, though, like, where the dad, like, cleaning the shotgun, or the dad's, like, just acting like a real fucking asshole about her wait, no, how's it negative one? That doesn't make any sense. but how the dad's, like, always being, like, a piece of shit and, like, trying to, like, ruin their fucking girl. That's always crazy to me, because, like, it's so funny to see, like, the double standard at play, because that's one of the ones where you can see it the most easily. Because, like, if your son is starting to date somebody, like, yeah, fuck yeah, son, hey, yeah, get it, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, wear a condom, you know. But whenever you start whenever your daughter starts dating, it's like, you will not leave the house unless I say, and if I ever hear you come back late, even 1 minute late, I swear to God this relationship's over. It's insane, the difference. Dads don't get it. Every dad that acted super asshole when I met him, I destroyed their daughter the same night.
My God, LARP.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
So real quick, I've only had 2 relationships where I was scared of the dad, and they were for different reasons. And one of them, it's because her biological dad was like one of the, like the higher ranking sheriff's officers in LA County, and her stepdad was in charge of embassy security in Belize. So I was like, either one of these 2 men could kill me and get away with it,
or also put you on a no-fly list. Like, there's so many things they could do that are just petty.
And the other one was, it was my last ex, where her dad was like a really high-powered like attorney, and I was like, I feel like if this man really wanted to,
he could figure out a way to sue me.
He would bury me if he really wanted to.
Yeah.
But well, and then the whole thing with the dad you're talking about, that I will say, like, I mean, granted, this might be more because of being brought up like in a Japanese household by a single mom. But like, my mom was always way too like protective and over like bearing about that sort of stuff. So like, I didn't tell her half the time. Like, I didn't bring half of the girls I took on dates to the house because I knew it was gonna be to the nth degree.
Really? I have never had like, what I've always like told my mom whenever it comes to like meeting girls and whatnot, especially whenever it's like, dude, this is the awkward thing about being my age and like still living at home, is like, every once in a while I'm bringing home a chick and like walking through the front of the fucking house and going up to my room and everything. And like, there's been situations where like, I'll like be about to walk in, I go, hey mom, I'm about to bring this chick upstairs, so if you could just maybe go to your room, and or maybe go to like my younger brother's room and like keep him distracted for a little bit. Like, I'll start like, and she's like, oh yeah, I got you. And then she just leaves, and then like, it'll be time to leave, and I'll send her a text message like, mom, go to your room. She's like, got you, and then she leaves. My mom's such a wingman, bro.
Like, the closest I've ever come was there was one time in high school, my mom was supposed to be at work, I had this girl over, and like, all of a sudden, like, we're getting hot and heavy, I'm like buck ass naked associate, I hear the garage door start opening, and I have never panicked so hard in my life,
bro. And
like, this girl rolls to the other side of the bed, kind of like hiding out of view. My mom's at the door, and she's like, I know she's here. I saw the bug at the entrance to the neighborhood. I'm like, fuck.
The bug? Oh.
Dude, like, the Volkswagen bug.
Yeah. For a second, I thought you meant like a ladybug. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, is your mom a tarot card reader? And she knew something was up?
Lying through my teeth for the next 3 years about that, just playing dumb for like the whole life of me, because like, it took about 2 hours, but she left to go do like a parent teacher meeting, which I guess is why she came home early. But like, to this day, I still refuse to cop to that. I
literally have zero experiences like that with my mom past the age of like 17. Like, once I became 17, I had that one conversation with her that was very ballsy. We're like, mom, you embarrassed us. Like I was just like, mom, I'm gonna be closing the door for now. And she's like, yeah, you're right, you are an adult. Like, that was kind of like the vibe of the conversation. And after that, it was very much a situation where there was one time whenever I was like really heavily on Tinder, and I was about to bring this girl home, and I literally texted my mom, I'm about to bring this girl home, my room is kind of fucking messy, can you please run upstairs and just like get the room together? Like, it doesn't have to look perfect or anything, but just like make sure there's no clothes on the floor. She's like, I got you. And she like cleaned it up in like 5 minutes and sent me a picture like, is this good? I'm like, yes, we're good. She's like, okay, good. And then I just went over there and like literally just walked in there and fucking was like, nobody's home, kind of is what it looks like. It's so fucking funny.
Literally, like, I feel like this is gonna be me if Wyatt stays at home through college.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be me. I just can tell already.
Well, because that's the thing though. That means that you have like some sort of a good like relationship with your son, like where you like have a really open dialogue with him and stuff like that. Because that's how it is with my mom. Like, we just have such an open dialogue that it's like, yeah, it's not gonna be weird, Also, I like Tipsy Ink said it's so different for women, especially in a Latin household. So one of my exes was Hispanic. And it was an experience because like, she knew, like, her mom knew that we were having sex, like, there was no questions about it, and still would be constantly like trying to fucking catch us and like not leaving us alone and and like when we're like 18, 19, you know what I mean? Like, we're adults at this point, and she's still like doing that kind of shit. It was insane to me. I could not relate because I was just so used to like my own mom just being so fucking chill about everything. What do you guys think about this? We kind of started getting in this yesterday a little bit. What do you guys think about, so for example, when in Texas, one of the things they do, or they used to do whenever I was a kid, is they would teach abstinence instead of just teaching safe sex. So what do you think about that? And by that, I don't just mean like in the context of like safe sex and everything. I also mean like about like doing drugs and like drinking and everything like that. Do you think that you should teach, hey, if you are going to drink, just be as responsible as possible? I understand that you're young and you're probably going to drink, so just make sure you always have like, I'll leave some money in your account for Uber at all time, or if you need to call me, just call me. Do you think that's the approach, or do you think the approach is like, you're not going to drink, and if I catch you drinking, then you're fucked?
So
I'm the only one with a kid here, so I'll go last.
Well, I can also say, like, you know, because I'm a tennis coach, I've got a group of about 6 boys who are all 14, 15 now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I've had this conversation with them because my tennis coach, he's like a father figure to me, he had this same conversation with me. And I sat them all down. I looked him in the face. I said, look, guys, you know, I'm not going to tell you not to smoke weed, not to drink, not to go have like sex, because I get it. I was your age. Yes, it was like 10 plus years ago, but I remember. And I know how schools are around here because I went to a high school around here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just make sure that if you are doing it, it does not then become your defining feature where you cannot go a day without interacting with that sort of thing somehow. Like if you're at a friend's house on a weekend, someone busts out a joint, fine. Just be smart about it. Be careful about it, right? But like if it turns into a thing where it's like you're waking and baking before you go to school, you're sneaking out in lunch, you know, that sort of stuff, then I'm going to have a problem with it. And they all have my number because, you know, I've since they've been 13, I've said, you guys are going into middle school, high school. You need to start managing your own schedule. I'm not texting your parents about your lesson time or clinic time. You are texting me that you want to come out on the court, or that, hey, you know, what time is my lesson this week? Because you need to start learning to manage your shit. And so I told them, I said, you guys all have my phone number, right? If you're ever in a situation where you're hanging out with your friends, you've had something to drink, you've smoked a little bit, right, and you don't feel like you can get home safely, call me. I will not ask any questions.
No questions asked.
I will cover your ass for your parents if I need to, because I get it. I'd rather you guys be safe about it than feel like it's some like thing you can't touch and go just fucking bananas with it.
Because that's the fear, right? Is that you have to put them in a situation to where there's little to no consequence for you calling them, or them calling you. Because if you don't, if they even, and I'm very much this way, like if I would have had a situation whenever I was younger where I was drinking at a party and I had to drive home, but I was afraid that like for example, if my dad would have been like in my life and my mom wasn't, I can definitely imagine a situation in which I would drunk drive as to not tell my dad, because I'd be so afraid of him like beating the shit out of me if he found out. You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see a situation like that. Whereas with my mom, she told me very early, like whenever I was like 15, she was like, hey, there's going to be situations where there's going to be alcohol and drugs at parties and everything like that. Please stay away from the harder stuff. If you do drink or if you do smoke or anything and you can't drive home. So if you drink it all or smoke it all, don't drive home. Just call me. I will literally say nothing. I won't say anything, and I will take you back to your car the next day and you can get it, and I will never ask any questions about it, and we can just move on and act like it didn't happen. I feel like that was really the best possible scenario for me in particular.
So to this day, my mom still will give me looks sometimes if I'm having like a drink in the house. So like that's why I had the conversation with them, because I remember when I was in like high school, college, like because it was like like I'm kind of getting back at somebody, I'm kind of doing something I'm not supposed to do. I went way harder than I really should have realistically safely done. You know, and granted, I never really did much, you know, anything harder than like, you know, synthetics, you know, like synthetic, you know, weed or mushrooms. I never crossed that boundary. But at the same time, like, you know, I'd go out with friends, and like the amount of like alcohol or the amount of weed we would smoke was way more than I probably would have done if it didn't also like get that adrenaline rush from feeling like
you're doing something that you're not supposed to do.
I'm hardcore breaking the rules right now. I'm not I'm not bending the rules. I'm hardcore breaking them right now.
Right. Yeah. And that's what like LARP saying the thing that he said. That's kind of what I think as well. He said it's really simple. Build trust with your kids. Facilitate a relationship that doesn't require them to lie to you, because they will lie to you. Whatever hard assness you try to enforce, they will combat it. If they don't combat it, they will go fucking crazy when they finally don't have to live under your rules. Facilitate an honest and open relationship and build trust with your kids. Because like I never did anything bad in high school because like I didn't feel like there was no rush. Like what you're describing with that rush, I was like, I've never experienced that. There's never been a time in high school where I was drinking at a party where I was like, oh my God, if I get caught by my mom. It was always like, yeah, my mom knows that I'm drinking because I told her I was going to a party and there's going to be alcohol and I was going to be drinking. Like, I like literally told her what I was going to do, and she knows what I'm going to do. But instead of being like, no, you can't do that, she was just like, all right, well, just be safe, don't drive, just leave your keys somewhere, hide your keys, do something like that. I was like, okay, yeah, I won't drive. And then I just left and did it, and like there was no consequences, and it was nice. But I feel like everybody that I knew that had really strict parents had the exact inverse like relationship, where it was like either in high school they were going fucking crazy behind their parents' backs, or once they got to college, which is like something else that LARP was saying in that block of text. Because like, bro, when some of my friends went to college and weren't living under their friend's roof, they unironically became alcoholics and drug addicts because they went so fucking crazy whenever they got into college. But yeah, Love, what's your perspective? I would assume that Love is going to have a similar perspective to my mom, because it seems like you and my mom have a very similar parenting style. So I would assume that you guys are going to have a similar outlook.
So although Wyatt is really, really young, we've had a lot of more and quote mature conversations. But that's just because, like, realistically, mentally, he's a couple years accelerated. But that's because he's been basically around adults his whole life. So, like, Wyatt knows what weed is. He knows about alcohol. He knows about the detriment that it can do to your body. He knows about the benefits to weed. He knows about, you know, the negatives, if there are really any for people. So, like, he prefers me when I'm stoned because I'm a lot calmer. I'm not as anxious. And I'm more fun to be around. And he's been like that for a long time. But we have the communication and the understanding that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're with, you get a freebie.
Yep.
If you call me and say, Mom, no questions, please just come get me. I'm going to come and get you. I may have a couple questions in the morning, like, do you need to go to the hospital?
Right.
Like, what did you take? What did you eat? What did you drink? Like, I'm going to have those questions for your safety. But our general rule of thumb is be safe. I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think that that's the right way to be. And I also don't think there's anything wrong with what you said there towards like the end of it, whenever you're like, I might have a couple of questions. I think that's totally fine too, because I think that the relationship that Love and Bug are going to have, especially whenever they're or he's of that age, is going to be one to where her asking questions isn't going to feel like an attack. Like it's not going to feel like oh my God, I'm being interrogated. It's going to be like, I remember this one time I had Google searched on I think it was on my mom's tablet. I Google searched I Google searched how long does weed stay in your system, because I was like smoking weed with my friend in the backyard, and I was like, oh fuck, like I might get drug tested at my job, like I gotta make sure this is. And so I Google searched that, and she goes, were you smoking weed in the backyard? And I go, oh yeah, the other day I was. She goes, you rascal. Like she's just like that was like her reaction to me, because she knew that she knew I didn't have an issue with smoking weed. Like she knew I didn't have a problem with smoking weed, and she knew it was just like a one-off thing. But it was just funny because she was basically just laughing at me for leaving it on the fucking tablet. Like, you idiot, you left it on my tablet. Like I know now. That was like the whole relationship.
I think that can also be equally related to like having like the talk with your kids, because like Wyatt's growing up in the digi age.
Yeah.
Like easily accessible information, and I do check his devices. Like
No, you're just being smart with that. You're being smart.
Yeah. And you know, we Googled a couple of things. Granted, we Googled a couple of things that were questionable, and we watched a couple of videos that were, you know, questionable, but that's because he's at that age where like there's questions being asked. Like him and his friends, like he has, my goddaughter is one of his best friends. My goddaughter currently has a girlfriend. So like she blamed him for looking up girls kissing girls on like the tablet at one point, but then it all came out in the wash that like it was her.
Yeah, because like, if you would have gone up to Bug and be like, did you look this up? He'd be like, fucking yeah. Like that would have been the answer. He'd be like, yeah, I did.
And the fact that he vehemently, when asked, like, and by vehemently, I mean the kid is crying because he thinks that he's about to be in trouble for something.
Yeah, that he didn't do.
That he didn't do it because, like, he feels like he's now being put on the spot for something like he didn't do.
God, I've been there
like,
before.
Per se. But, like, he's also, you know, like, Googled certain things, and I'm like, bud, you're still so young.
Yeah, you're going down a dangerous you're going down a dangerous road for how young you are. Bro, I can tell you, love, you know why you need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on all of this is because whenever this is always my funniest story revolving on this, and this is going to be the last thing that we can say and then we have to end the podcast, but I literally was looking up porn on my Nintendo DSi because it had access to the internet, and my parents just had no clue that it had access to the internet, and I was just sitting there like, like you couldn't even watch videos, you could just look at images, and I was like,
oh my god.
By the way, it looks like Faye was saying that to what I just said just now, but that's not the case, but it's just funny.
So I say real quick, I saw Faye mention that she went to Catholic school. Like a lot of the boys I coach go to Catholic school here. Because that's one of the, like, there's not really good public schools here, and that's why I have that conversation with them, because I know, like, between their parents and Catholic school, if someone isn't willing to have an honest conversation,
nobody will,
with them,
right? Yeah,
they are gonna go fucking bananas, and I refuse to have any kid that I've spent that much time, that much time fostering and like helping them grow. I refuse to watch any of them, flush things away down the toilet because literally, no one had an honest conversation with them.
As soon as you started saying that, I was like, there's two reasons why I think that's really important. And one of them is for the types of people that have like super strict parents. And then the other one is for the types of kids that, like me, didn't have like a super strong male role model in their life. And so like, I didn't have anybody telling me that, like there was nobody telling me that. It was just like, obviously my mom was like really great. And I, whenever you hear me talk about my mom, you never really hear me say anything negative. It was just all positives. But one thing that like she couldn't do super efficiently was be a real life male role model. And so I always appreciated that with like people in my lives that weren't related to me, but they still cared about me enough to be like, hey, just be careful with this. And if you ever need me, I'm here. You know what I mean? I feel like that was very nice of you to do. Like, it's the right move, I think.
I got really lucky in that I had my high school coach who's been like a father figure and a mentor toward me. We still talk probably 2 or 3 times a week, who had these conversations with me and kind of took me under his wing, because I mean, honestly, without that I probably would have gone way further out of control. And then I had a hitting coach he's about 10 years older than me, who acted more like an older brother with me.
Right
where he was kind of giving me shit about stuff, but it was and like an older brother kind of way, like, hey, you better fucking listen because I know what I'm talking about.
Right. I can appreciate either of those. I feel like it's nice that you're doing that for kids. I keep doing that though, because like seriously, like I think you'd be surprised how much of an impact you're actually having on some of these kids. Like maybe you wouldn't because
that's the one thing when I talk to parents, sometimes I always tell them, I'm like, if even if it's only one kid, that I can get to then pick up the torch and do it with another set of kids, then I've done my job.
Yeah, you've just nurtured 3 generations or something if that just goes one more. But anyways, that's gonna have to be the end of the No Strings Attached podcast. Sorry to cut this one a little bit short, boys. I would love to keep having this conversation, but I do unfortunately have to go pretty soon. I have to drive like an hour away right now, so I'm in the same boat, Tyler.
Yeah, my fault. It's like 50 minutes away.
I figured that you were also in the same boat, so I was like, okay, we should probably start getting going. But LARP, I will neither confirm or deny. But
that's exactly what Tyler's going to do. Don't let him neither confirm nor deny.
Also, thank you.
Rub some butts.
For LARP here, nut.
Oh yeah, I forgot. By the way, thank you so much, Love, for being my co-host. It was super fun as always, and thank you, Tennis, for coming on. Kind of late notice, firstly, but also just coming on in general because I know we've been waiting to get you on for a while now. So appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for the invite. It was a blast, and if you ever need someone again, I'm always around.
Oh, you'll be in the rotation for sure. But anyways, we're gonna do.
We have a rotation.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we're gonna raid Sapphire, so definitely stick around. Maybe give her a follow. Drop that Twitch Prime. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, other than that, that's pretty much it. Have a good one. Bye.